It's Perfectly Queer with It Gets Better.
Hey!
Hello, everyone. Hello.
Welcome. Hello.
Welcome. Hi. Hi, I am Tayler Scriber, your resident semi-friendly chaos bisexual.
Hi, I'm Ever. I'm your resident non-binary butch, here to celebrate with you. Welcome to Perfectly Queer.
Woo!
Woo! If you're returning, welcome. And if you're new to the stream, hello, welcome.
Hi, everyone. Seeing some familiar faces already.
I know.
Hi, Lilas.
Oh my God, Jinx.
Hi. Yeah, Lazy Gnome. Hi. Well, Ever.
Yes.
Welcome back. We had a little twofer. We're back to back, baby.
That was really fun. But we will be going back to bi-weekly after this episode, starting on February 8th.
Yeah, we're gonna have February 22nd. Is that right?
You know, this feels like a math question, and I'm unprepared to answer.
And I'm not gonna ask you to, because we know gay people can't do math, so we're not gonna.
It's proven. No, we have some really great guests coming up, as well as today. Beginning is going to be here. We're chatting.
And we can ask them about sports, esports specifically, not sports.
Yeah,
you know, not sport ball,
sports.
Esports.
Yeah,
not sport ball.
But we also have some really great guests coming up as well. Naomi Hartz, and then excuse me if I'm pronouncing this wrong. Winnie,
yeah. And they are a current Twitch ambassador. And so we're going to be talking to a lot of really cool queer content creators next month, you guys. So we'd love to. And also, Valentine's Day is coming. We would love to spend the few days before the holiday, loving ourselves, loving our queerness.
Yeah, giving love to each other, which always feels really great. I'm going to move this right over here. Y'all, we have a really fun show. We're going to be watching some TikToks. We got 3 really cool ones for you. I'm really excited because one of them includes serpent with feet. We're so excited.
I guess. Wait, but before we start, how was your week? How have you done? How have you been?
My week's been good. I was traveling. I was in San Francisco.
Yeah, you went to San Fran. How was
for a festival. It was really fun. It was really busy. I had 2 headlining shows on Friday, and then back-to-back shows Saturday and Sunday, kind of across the city. But it was fun. It was good to see some, new friends and old friends, and then also some family members showed up. Yeah, that was really fun.
That's so nice.
How was your week?
Oh, it was good.
Okay. Okay.
It was good. That's how I approach all my weeks, because I have a really bad short-term memory. So I'm like, what did happen this week?
Well, you're retaining so much information all the time.
It's really true. I have to just jettison things that don't matter. Like, was yesterday Tuesday? Maybe it was. I don't really care. I had to read 50 pages of theory, and that's taking precedent right now in my brain. It was good. I had my queer theory class yesterday. That's always really fun. It's really cool being in a space with other queer people and talking about our history and where we fit in academically and culturally and socially. That's always a really it feels very healing to me in a sense. It's not something that I had for a very long time, and so it's nice. It was a good week, I think.
Yeah, well, sounds really nice. Yeah. I'm trying something new where I have the Twitch channel open on my phone, or the Twitch chat on my phone.
You're brave for that.
If you see me look down, it's because my phone locked, and I'm like, oh my God,
what's going on?
Yeah. And it's right, yes, I forgot to take the auto lock off.
Rookie mistake.
Oh,
I also wanted to.
Oh, what's up?
Oh, I'm sorry. What did they say? What happened? My stuff is over here. What is this?
You make the viewers do the math for you.
Period. And do. If there are any mathematicians in here, y'all do that. Yeah. I was gonna say Oscar nominations came out, as we know.
Oh my gosh.
I'm a film girly, and all I really cared about, frankly, was that Everything Everywhere All at Once got what it was supposed to get, and it did.
Yeah.
11 nominations. We love to see it. Angela Bassett got nominated. I will say, I'm kind of upset because Nope did not get any nomination.
Oh.
And I was really okay. Half of me shocked because it's like I'm like, it was such a good movie. Like it was just so good. Like everybody liked it. It was really
Yeah.
good, like critically received. But then the other part of me is like, the Academy doesn't take horror seriously. It hasn't taken horror seriously since The Exorcist, and so like maybe I need to mitigate my expectations. But still, it makes me sad.
I have something I need to admit. I didn't watch
Please
the
stop.
Oscar nomination.
Oh, okay. I thought you said you didn't watch Nope, and I was about to lose.
Oh
my
no, just the
mind.
nominations. I was
that's
just so
fine.
busy. Okay.
No,
I was like,
I
yeah,
only
the
watch it because
Oscars.
it's literally my job. I don't have
Right.
an expectation that anyone else watches it until the night of and be like, "What's who's nominated again?" I have no expectations of that. Not at all.
Are you pretty good at like kind of like, I mean, I wouldn't call it like guessing, but like having a hunch of like who's gonna win or who's gonna be nominated?
Definitely nominations. Wins, it depends on the year. That fluctuates. Like
Okay.
sometimes you see like a best picture and like, oh, that's a done deal. But like
Yeah.
for instance, like with like best animated feature, I really think it's going to be between Pinocchio and Puss in Boots 2, which is not a sentence that I thought I would say, but Puss in Boots 2 is apparently like a tour de force of animation and narrative storytelling. I haven't watched it yet. I'm going to try to watch it this
I
weekend.
think I know what's gonna happen after this episode.
Oh yeah, I've heard that it's like has no business being as good as it is.
That's Antonio Banderas' Puss, right?
Yes, he is. Yes, he
Puss
is.
in Boots?
And he had a near-death experience apparently, and that really made him reevaluate which roles he wanted to take, like going on in his life. And so for him to take this movie, like proved that like I feel like he really cared about the script and like critically, every person that I've talked to ever has been like, that movie is so good. I was like, what are you talking? What are you saying?
Okay.
Because the
I'm
first
down to
one is
watch
like,
it.
first one's like nothing to write home about. And then Pinocchio, obviously, because Guillermo del Toro was like master and he spent like over a decade working on this movie. And I watched it when it came on Netflix and it was really, really good. Very poignant, beautiful animation, great story. I loved it a lot. So I think it's between those two. Best picture, anybody's game. I'm thinking it's probably going to be Banshees of Inisherin, because they won the Golden Globe. Yeah. But
kind of a okay.
yeah, because it's a safe pick. Sometimes the Academy goes safe. You know, they're like, oh, okay, we'll choose the safe thing, which is like this.
Except for La La Land.
Oh, that year was so messy. I was like, because that was the only movie I had not seen in the lineup, and I still have to this day have not seen La La Land. I'm not interested. Drag me in the comments if you want. I don't care. I'm not interested.
Not interested.
But
not
I was
for me.
Really upset we're gonna get the Oscar. You're really not gonna give it to Moonlight?
Yeah.
And then
I didn't like that moment because it like the way they were like, we didn't win, by the way, kind of sucked the joy out of
all of it.
Like it was like, oh,
sucked the joy right out.
You could have been tactful, but
yeah, that's really okay. I think.
Bracket to art, La La Land was not for me.
Not for me. Yeah, agreed.
Yes, not for us.
Puss in Boots might take it exactly, lazy note. Like I really, the way people talk about this movie.
Is it on Netflix as well?
What it's on?
Or is it on HBO? Or is that?
It might be on HBO. Okay. I know it's DreamWorks, so it's anybody's game. Like it's not Disney. So
I can't keep up with all the streaming, Taylor.
I know.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
It's causing too much stress right now. I feel like I can't keep up. Sometimes I'm just like hitting the remote and just being like, show me this. And it pops up and I'm like, great.
Sometimes I'll be on Netflix and I'll spend a literal hour looking for something to watch. And then I just watch a YouTube video that I've seen 1,000 times.
Right? It's comforting.
I'm like, I'm exhausted. I don't want to watch anything. I'm exhausted.
I don't want to have to think about what I'm ingesting. I just don't want to ingest.
Right. I don't want to think about it at all. Truly.
You know honestly. What I love spending time on? TikToks.
Oh, period. As we know.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of. Let's go right into our Thriving and Enlivened segment. So, hello everybody. Hello friends. Today we're going to be viewing some It Gets Better Project TikToks and chatting, and then we will be speaking. Oh, am I gone? Am I here?
There's a lag, but I'm gonna pretend that there's no lag from now on. Because
Okay.
you always come back.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you so much for working with me. So like I said, we're gonna watch some TikToks from It Gets Better Project. We're gonna chat a little bit about them. We'd love to hear y'all's thoughts as well. And then we're gonna get right into beginnings. One of the It Gets Better Project's first ambassadors, actually from their ambassadorship program.
A year and a half.
A year and a half, which is actually a very long stretch of time, like a very long stretch of time. But before we get into that, let's start with this first TikTok.
Black gay artists you should listen to, part 2. You know when you eat cotton candy and it just melts on your tongue? That's the best way I can describe Destin's music. It's laid back, it's groovy, it's so peaceful. And if you've ever wanted to go on a trip in your favorite rocket ship zooming through the sky, Tanariel's music is music to listen to. It's celestial, it's R&B, it's soulful. Last but not least, we have Serpent with Feet, whose music can be best described as adoration in lyrical form. He's got this Baroque pop soul thing going on, and it's...
I love Serpent with Feet.
We were talking about that before we started.
Yes.
We were like, Serpent with Feet is dope.
Dope. And I love the descriptor of the first artist of like cotton candy dissolving. I was like, ooh, I'm gonna have to check that out today.
Kind of
have a bubble bath.
Are there any other artists that you like? I know personally for me, like Yves Tumor is one of my favorites.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Tumor. He is so fabulous. I think
I'm about to drift away. I'm like thinking about all these musicians and their songs. I'm like, yeah, what's going on with Frank Ocean?
I don't want to talk about it.
I'm upset.
Because isn't he going to headline Coachella?
I don't know.
I think I saw, I don't know if it was fake or not. So if it was fake or not, somebody tell me, but I think I saw that he was going to headline Coachella again. And now I'm like, okay, are we getting new music?
I would hope so.
Right?
I love Frank Ocean. That's why I'm so upset. I'm like, I need the money. I need to consume.
I need
more. My brain needs it.
Sell art so I can give you my money so I can have it.
I'm ready to give you my money, Frank.
Right. Just take it. Take it. Yeah.
Probably working on a very beautiful album. That's what I would hope.
Yeah. I remember when he was dropping Blonde.
Oh yeah.
That was a stressful time in my life. I was staying up at all hours of the night waiting for him to drop that album.
Refreshing. Did you see the thing that I think Ticketmaster is?
Yeah, they're doing that Senate hearing right now, and they are ripping them apart.
Oh my god. Maybe that's what I'm gonna watch.
On C-SPAN.
Yes.
The Ticketmaster. I recommend C-SPAN. If you want some unbiased news coverage, I recommend C-SPAN. They're great.
And for those of you who are watching and you're like, what's going on with Ticketmaster? They kind of have like a monopoly.
It's not kind of, they fully do.
They fully have the monopoly.
Yeah.
So that's why you see like artists like, Harry Styles and there was like a few others, like their concerts were sold out, but it was like less than half full. Or I think it was Bad Bunny.
It was Taylor Swift and Bad Bunny.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was because scalpers were still getting the tickets.
Resellers get the tickets and then they resell them on other sites or whatever for like an exorbitant amount of money. And it's wild because I saw a senator make this point during the hearing because I watched a little bit of it today, and he was like, why wouldn't you just make it so that you can only buy a ticket for yourself and you can't resell it, so then if somebody can't go to a concert, they just refund it to the venue and then the venue sells the ticket. Like, why would you be able to transfer the ownership of the ticket to someone else? That doesn't make any sense. And I was like, you're right. You're right. You should say it.
But also, I will say the one caveat is if I bought this ticket for you for your birthday, that's when I would want to transfer it.
Oh, of course. Yeah, definitely. I think that should be like if you want to give it as a gift, but you shouldn't be able to sell it for money. You know what I mean? Like there should be an option to be like, this is a gift for somebody else. And it's like they have their own code.
I'm watching C-SPAN. I have my whole night plan.
C-SPAN
2.
C-SPAN. C-SPAN. And that's called being an adult.
Oh my god, it's gonna feel so good. I'm gonna pop in a bubble bath. My mom gave me a bunch of eucalyptus Bath and Body Works body wash. She always says that.
Love Bath and Body Works.
I'm gonna soap.
Yeah. No, as you should. But speaking of getting older, speaking of different generations, we are now gonna move into onto the second part of Thriving in Life, and we're going to be addressing this article called "Please Don't Use the Q Word." This article was featured in The Guardian. I don't know if the moderators will drop it in the chat or not. It's really short. It's not really an article as much as it is just a letter that someone sent.
I felt like it was a man's thoughts.
Yeah, it was like citizens' thoughts, public thoughts, and it was like this is short little letter, but basically, it was this man named Carl Lockwood. He says he and many other gay people find the use of the word queer insulting and derogatory. He says, quote, "I am a gay man of 66 years with many friends and acquaintances, and no one would refer to themselves as queer. It would seem a small minority of activists has encouraged the media to use the word without considering its offensiveness to many people. You wouldn't use the N-word, so don't use the Q." Now, Ever, I would like your thoughts first because I have many thoughts, but I would love to hear your thoughts first.
While I can see that some people would find the word queer offensive, I find the word queer very inclusive for the LGBTQ spectrum as well as sexuality.
Mm-hmm.
Would I compare the usage of the word queer with the N-word? Absolutely not. I thought that was a bit outrageous to put in this article. Personally speaking, I also was like, oh, 66-year-old man. That too. I was just like, like, getting a little cranky about it. And it was also like, it felt very like preachery to me, this article of like, don't say this. And it was like, hey, like some people feel this way, which I can totally understand. Like,
Absolutely.
100%. And if somebody was like, hey, I identify as a lesbian, not as queer, like hold me aside. Of course, everything's a learning experience, but
absolutely.
To me, comparing it to the N-word was a bit.
It was a little strange.
I said, I'm gonna put down my glass. I'm just gonna put it down, and I'm gonna back away.
I'm gonna walk away. I'm gonna take a walk.
Yeah. What about you, Taylor?
Okay, so here's the thing. I absolutely, because I said this last week, that there is a lot that we can learn from older queer people.
Yes.
I think that a lot of the times we discount older queer people's experiences as not being particularly relevant to like maybe the journey that younger queer people are facing in modernity. And so but I think that there is so much to learn from our queer elders, absolutely at all times.
100%.
That being said, we had a really interesting conversation actually in my queer theory class this week about intersectionality, right? And and there was this article that we read. It's called Punks, Bulldaggers, and Welfare Queens: A Radical Queer Politics by Kathy J. Cohen.
I think okay, go ahead.
It's a great article. I don't know if I would be able to give It Gets Better Project access to it and they'd be able to put it somewhere. I don't want to put that on them. But like it's free on the internet.
I feel like
somewhere.
I've read that.
Yeah, a lot of people have read it. It was like a very big text in like the 90s when queer theory and like queer politics were like really coming into fruition. But what Cohen is able to really do and get to is like the intersectionality of queerness, because at that time, a lot of people would associate queerness with whiteness, frankly. And there was no kind of perspective of like what it means to be intersectional. So that last line about like you wouldn't use the N-word, so don't use the Q-word, it's like, well, as a Black person who gets around other Black people who have reclaimed the N-word for themselves and like has grown up on people that say that word and people that don't feel comfortable saying the word, I can say that it is an incredibly nuanced conversation in which you can't just like foreclose on it completely, because and it was also this thing of like the respectability politics of it, right? Like like you spoke to it and being like it's a little preachy. It's like people of older generations, I notice it amongst Black people, like they have a real issue with younger people using the N-word because it's a level of like appealing to respectability politics, appealing to a certain like way that we're supposed to want to be viewed. But the thing about queerness, about Blackness, is that it's like plural. Like there's a plurality to it. So many people experience it on so many different spectrums. To foreclose on anything is like to really, I think, limit the possibilities of understanding what it means to be a queer person. And so that is what I think is lacking here in Mr. Lockwood's kind of discussion, is like, okay, I understand that you don't want to be referred to as that, but what about the people that do? What about your age mates that do? Because I'm sure there are queer people also in their 60s that want to be referred to as queer, right? So it's kind of that thing of like being able to step outside of yourself and be like, maybe not for me, but to respect for somebody else, you know? Yeah.
I kind of really like the response of our like final TikTok. So, like it really covers that. Or not even our final TikTok. We have one more after that, but it gets better. It has a TikTok that actually dives into the usage of the word queer.
Have you ever wondered what does it mean to be queer? And how do people identify with it when it used to be used as a slur? Well, I'm here to tell you. The first thing you should know is queer is an identifier within the LGBTQ IA plus community. The Q can sometimes be replaced with questioning. However, many in the community have very adamantly said Q is for queer. And no two queer people might actually identify the same way or like the same type of people. I use the term queer lesbian to identify myself. I see it as gender expansive and it's non-men loving non-men. And so I have queered lesbianism. That's the third thing you should know. It can be an action. So you can queer something, which is to take it away from its traditional norms and challenge the status quo, which really ties into the political identity that comes with queerness.
Yeah. I love that last part also. I hate to bring my lecture up again because I know that's not.
No, I love it. I love it.
But the thing about that article with Cohen and speaking about intersectionality is that she makes the argument that like we can include and align ourselves with heterosexual people that don't fit into the like dominant modes of heterosexuality, like single mothers who like, you know, because they're unpartnered and because they've had perhaps children out of wedlock, they don't fit cleanly into a dominant idea of heterosexuality. And in a sense, they are like, Crappy's like, I don't want to call them queer, but like in a sense, they are queered individuals within the realm of heterosexuality. So it's the same thing. It's like, or you think about like people that don't want to have children. You think about people who don't want to get married. You think about like those people are all resisting kind of the dominant heteropatriarchal structure that we all have to exist within in the same way that queer people do. And so like queering something is like, I love that. I love that. Yeah. Fabulous.
I honestly now we're getting to the last TikTok. I related to this so hard and so much because there is so much like public feedback on a lot of videos. So let's not switch.
If you post about the LGBTQ community on social media, you can get a lot of support, but you can also get a lot of hate. This is how I handle negative comments. If the person seems to have a genuine confusion about whatever I'm talking about, then I use this as an opportunity to educate them and hopefully increase their understanding and tolerance of the LGBTQ community. But if the person is just outright disrespectful, I don't even engage. I just delete the comments and block them right away.
Perfect.
No notes. Exactly.
I would say perfect. And I will say though, sometimes you do read the comments, and for me, like don't read the comments. Never read the comments. Never read the comments. But if you catch yourself reading the comments, can't take it personally.
No.
Because I was reading some and I was like, how dare they think that about me? I'm not doing this. And it was like, wait, these people don't know me. I don't owe them my reactions. I don't owe them space in my brain. I don't want to give that emotional response to them.
Exactly.
So just kind of remember that. And if a stranger is going to comment on your videos and be hateful, like they don't got a life. And there's,
I personally, listen.
That's what I'm going to say about that.
Perhaps I'm petty, but I like to get my little joke off and then I like to block them. I like having the last word.
Okay, yes, I was trying to be mature.
I'm a little petty. I like to go, ha ha ha. Because ultimately, and I think that Bay Giddings, who we're going to bring on here in a second, said the same thing.
Yeah.
Is that like it brings up the algorithm, and then you just like disable the comments or you like block people and that's it. And a lot of the time, the people that you're blocking are all saying the same thing. So like at a certain point, you're going to be immune to it. You're going to be like, I've already seen it, block. And like Ever said, when you're posting on the internet, you have to reconcile with the fact that these people are only getting 30 seconds to 60 seconds to 3 minutes of like who you are. You cannot allow them or whatever judgment they pass to, you cannot allow yourself to internalize them. So those people really, truly, and honestly do not know you. They don't know you.
No.
They don't know you. And I would say even for like the really positive stuff, people that think that you can do no wrong, they think that you're perfect, whatever, don't internalize that either, because you are not a perfect person.
No.
You can mess up, and you will.
And that's okay.
And that's okay. You take that as a learning experience, and you evolve and you grow. Because if you allow yourself to think that you're either perfect or you're the worst person on the planet, it's gonna get real messy. Really, really
And
messy.
also that doesn't allow you to grow, because you're like, well, they see me as like XYZ, but what if I want to start doing like
this? Yeah.
This? Yeah. Then you're like, well, I've already, and it's like,
you're not beholden to them. You do whatever you want.
Mhm.
You do whatever. If you start off cosplaying and now you want to be a political analyst,
then
that's your
be a
business.
political. That's your business.
That's your business. You don't have to do anything for anybody but yourself.
George Santos. You can start as a drag queen and then
not that. Okay, anyway, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, okay. Take it to the friends of the family segment.
you could be a dog scammer.
All right.
All right.
As we've said throughout the show, we have a wonderful guest coming to have a conversation with us. We're going to be talking to Bay Giddings, who's been an It Gets Better ambassador for 1.5 years, and we're just going to watch some quick introductory clips, and then we're going to bring them right on in.
Drew cuts off Fire Dragon, but Fire Dragon gets all the tiles to respawn there. Zack goes down, Nightwalker goes down, Triumph goes down, Donnie goes down, David goes down. It's all 5 people just on the same tiles. Puns is running with Drew. It's down to Puns and Drew. Drew running back and forth. Drew's trying to bounce. Puns is going back and forth the entire time. Drew gets the cutoff. All of a sudden, Drew has the advantage. He has the outside track. He makes the dive, and Drew Crew takes the win. Drew Crew is going to take the entire tournament. Hey, Twitch Rivals, if you want me to commentate your next tournament, just let me know.
Alright, I'm gonna be greedy here, but also I'm putting on a show.
You are clearly in front of me. Oh, well, I can't grief anyone. Oh,
Beautiful.
I'm getting grief myself.
No, you did not just do that.
Yes, I did. And that's the crown.
Oh my god!
Work. Slay. Nice. Hi, Bay Giddings.
Hi.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh! Thank you for
being
joining.
We love to do names and pronouns first. Just all be respectful. So I'm Tayler, she, her pronouns.
I'm Ever, they, them pronouns.
Chloe, she, her pronouns.
Fabulous. So nice to meet you. Where does the name come from for your streaming? Bay Giddings? What is that?
So for a while, I wanted to get into esports when I was like 13, because I had watched like tournaments, and so I remember I'd watch these tournaments, and I'd see people that had like really short names where it would be like nice and clean, and so I was like, okay, this person's name is like Mango, this person's name is some other fruit, like that kind of thing. And so they had these short, like no numbers, no nothing kind of names, and I was like, okay, what can be mine? And so early on, I was playing one game where I was known as Beginning, and this was before I'd even come out. And then I had started to do content creation, and I had come out, and I was trying to like figure myself out. And so my one friend started jokingly calling me Bay, and then we kind of just combined the names once I got like affiliated on Twitch, and the name just kind of stuck from there.
That's
That's
awesome.
cute. Nice. I didn't realize that, I know gamer tags are like really serious. Like people, like my brothers are really into gamers, and so like they're gamer tag, blah, blah, blah. But that's a really interesting story.
Yeah, I care a lot about like the name and like meaning behind things. Funnily enough, I was actually like worried about the connotation of Bay, because we know that there are some people who like to make fun of it or like have a negative reception toward it. So I was worried initially that because I chose this name back in 2017, so at this point, 5 years ago, there was a little bit of a different stigma toward it. And I was like, I don't want people to make fun of me because of this name that I chose. So I was a little reserved at first, but it was definitely the right decision for me.
Absolutely. Wow.
So how do you get into esports, and like what really got you in? Like You remember like your first time you're like, oh yeah, I'm
Yeah, I'm
going
in this
to a
for life.
tournament.
I'm in this for
Like,
life.
Yeah.
So
It's go time.
the first tournament I watched was, all right, let's see. I have to provide context. I
Okay.
started playing a game known as League of Legends back in
Ah,
season 1. So
Lord!
season 1 was, yeah, look, it's a regret that I live with for most of my life. But but at this point they're in season 13, so we have to go back 12 years. And I like when you open up the game's client back then, would be like, this tournament's happening now. And I live in New Jersey, and the tournament that was happening was in Atlantic City, which is like one of the more predominant areas. I was like, oh, this is local. This has a tournament here. I want to watch this. And I think the thing that really got my interest was there was this one team. I remember that some of the players were in high school competing in this tournament. And I sat there at 13 years old. I was like, I want to be able to do that. I think that's so cool. These people are in high school and they're going out to being able to compete. And then I got, in love with like the esports scene, and I made like a Twitch account back then. So I've had a Twitch account for over a decade at this point. And yeah, just been
That's
I
awesome.
didn't start streaming until 2017, but that was like the origin of me getting my interest of esports.
So a legend, I'm hearing.
Yeah, legal stop, please. Lo was like really. You mind me asking how old you are?
26.
Okay, so we're the same age. Yeah. Okay, Lo was very big in my high school. Like all of the boys played that.
I don't think there was that many people in mine, honestly. I had like a close-knit group of friends that played it, but it was more like I ended up living with my cousin for a couple years because we both went to the same college, and it was like our group of friends that would play it, and then I didn't really know anybody else, but that was what initially like moved me more to PC gaming. That was what, made me be around more and get, discover Twitch and all of that stuff. So regardless of my regret of playing the game, it led me down the path that I've gotten to.
Are you like mostly a PC girly, or are you like a console? Like, do you also do console games?
These days I do a lot of Nintendo based gaming. So like I have my Switch here, and that's where like a lot of like my streaming stuff goes, a lot of Pokemon.
Oh, I haven't bought a new Pokemon game, I think, in 5 years.
That's what I grew up on, was Pokemon. So it's like my little like, my special place, my comfort zone.
I'm definitely a Mario person.
Have y'all played the new, or it's not even the new, but it's not really, well, it's on Switch now, but the 007.
It's so funny. I have a friend who was literally just talking about how he wants to do a tournament for that, because when it's going to come onto Switch, there's going to be like the multiplayer, and it's that classic N64. I think it comes out soon, but
James Bond? What do you mean?
Yeah, it was the old Nintendo 64 one where that was called GoldenEye, and it was like some people's favorite game to play back on the Nintendo 64.
I'm gonna ask my dad about that. He used to play Nintendo 64 all the time. I'm gonna ask him.
Sorry, I probably took your thunder there a little bit there.
Oh, not at all. I love to know. I'm like, my dad was more of like a Zelda person. So like that's the games that I can relate a lot of like story and boss. So I love to hear what other people grew up. Definitely.
What have been like some of your favorite moments, either like in competing or participating in a tournament or hosting?
Yeah. So I think that I'm going to talk over the ringtone as I'm
so
no,
sorry.
You're fine.
It happened.
Trust me, I'm really good at being oblivious to this stuff. But
can you be real? Keep talking.
Yeah. I'll keep talking. So I think there are two key moments I'll think about. One of them was actually the clip there that the second clip that showed there. But the first one was, I remember I had been competing in smaller tournaments, and there was this person who had seen me consistently be in his tournaments, and he messaged me one day. He was like, "Hey, I need a commentator." And this was like the night before, and my team had gotten eliminated. So he was like, "Do you want to fill in?" And I had never done this before. But one of the first things that I had like told myself early on with trying to get better at games in general was, I said one of the best ways to learn is verbalize everything that you're doing out loud. and then you'll hear it and you'll be like, that doesn't make sense, or that sounds weird to do.
Oh.
And it was almost like I was streaming to myself back then. So I felt like because of that little talent that I had, I was like, I think I can do this. And I remember that first tournament. I I was so embarrassed back then. It's funny because like I'm friends with the person now, but before I didn't know the person at all. And I was just trying to talk and vamp, and I was a little nervous. So I started talking about that he put his stream time on like a 30-second delay because he didn't want people to snipe into his game and try to like sabotage him. But I verbally said the time that he had it, thus defeating the purpose of the time. And
Oh,
everybody called me out on that, and I was so embarrassed that day. Yeah.
It's fine. We all make mistakes.
everybody makes
Yeah.
mistakes.
I was
But
like,
also,
look, if that's the first time that I do it, then fine. I'll get it out of my system. I never made that mistake again.
Real. That's how we
Real.
learn lessons.
that is how we learn lessons.
Mhm.
Also, what a great way to problem solve in day-to-day life. Speaking
Yeah.
something out loud and being
Oh,
like,
I
why
talk to
doesn't
myself
this
all
make
the
sense?
time.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
It's
I talk to
crazy.
myself.
My therapist likes to say that I have like really good self-awareness. And the fact that I thought about that back when I was like 14, 15 years old, and I thought that that was a good idea, really goes to show that like I sometimes think a little too much about myself.
Mhm. Yeah, too much self-awareness is actually a detriment.
Yeah,
You heard it here, folks. Don't think too much.
definitely.
Think
Don't
it through. Think
Yeah.
it through, but don't think it through too much.
Yeah, but don't stress it.
No Doctor Strange, a million different perspectives. Don't do that.
So,
Figure it
and
out
I think
everywhere.
like the other moment would have been in that second clip that I was talking about. If you don't know Fall Guys, it's one of those things where it doesn't seem as like crazy, but that play that I made where I got hit by that hammer to send me to the finish line was a very
Proceed.
difficult thing to the average person who's played Fall Guys. And that was in a tournament where the prize pool was for $50,000.
Oh my gosh.
And two of the biggest creators at that moment also like were very ragey and toxic, and I'll go into this more because it's like a very like key moment in like my competing career. But I made collectively two of the biggest creators like uninstall the game after that tournament because of that play. So
Not they rage quit.
Whoa.
That's so funny.
because one Yeah, so, like, you can
Whoa.
see, like, on my POV, I just hit the hammer and grab it, and then, like, that one of the 2 people there was on the other side on their way up, and they were ahead of me, but because I hit that hammer, I was able to cut them off and also eliminate them from the tournament from that play, so they were just, like, absolutely livid. I ended up getting 2nd place in that tournament, and I got to meet some really, like, big creators that I had been watching for a bit that I still try to watch their streams and stop in on.
That's incredible. Congrats.
That's amazing.
thank
But
you.
also petty.
Yeah.
Petty.
Oh, yeah,
So-
super
but,
petty.
like,
Not
I
on
would
you,
love
but
to-
on the
no,
people
on
that just
them.
quit.
No,
Like,
no. It's
That's super common though in gaming.
Oh yeah.
Like because I would love to hear your thoughts on gaming toxicity, because I remember when my brothers first got the Xbox and they got comms, and they played Call of Duty first person shooters. Like that was not my team, but they'd be like, oh, play with us, da, 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 da. And I think I've only been maybe in like 3 pod lobbies like my whole life, because
Understandable.
they're so mean. And like for me, playing video games growing up was like, it was like family time, it was like time with your friends, like it's like a fun little like positive, way to blow off steam, you stress, da da da. But the way that these people talk in these lobbies and on these comms, I'm like, I thought gaming was supposed to be about escapism. Why are y'all being so mean to everybody? Like, so I would love to hear your thoughts.
Stuff.
Yeah,
because it is one of those things where I remember I was very toxic. I grew up ADD, ADHD. Any DD diagnosis that you could have had, I probably had at an early age. And the defiant disorder was like a big thing that ended up being like I would get angry if like a game froze, and like back then when it was on like the cartridge, like the game could easily freeze and you lose your data. So it was one of those things where I would get like frustrated at that. But back in those like it's funny because I remember my first account that I made on Xbox was under the family service, so I wasn't allowed to talk to people I didn't have added on Xbox. So those COD lobbies were never like toxic. And I remember I disabled that family setting like 2 years into having the account, And I remember turning it back on after that because I was like, I just don't want to listen to this stuff. And then, it sort of came back with League of Legends where the toxicity came. And I remember I had some friends who literally, like, I have a friend who got multiple accounts permabanned on League, and that's not supposed to brag. Like, I remember I would sit there playing with him, and I would just be like, "You need to, like, relax," because I would
Right.
tilt and yell at them to calm down because I was like, "You're taking this too seriously," and then it would be
Mhm.
I would get them more annoyed, and so me
Mhm.
trying to get them to realize how silly they were was only making the whole situation
Oh my
worse,
gosh.
and it just that,
Yeah.
like, gamer toxicity, it sort of devolved. Now my favorite thing to
Yeah.
do in those situations is that I like to play the ignorant card, or like the
Mhm.
oblivious card, where like they try to insult me, but I just go like, "Oh, thank you." And I like
Mhm.
smile and I just try to tilt them into like giving up because I'm not giving them the satisfaction there. And I just get to laugh at every comment that I make because I'm having a blast with it.
Absolutely.
That's
These
how you
days,
gotta
Absolutely.
do
Great
it.
yeah,
strategy. Kill them with kindness.
Great
exactly.
Mhm.
strategy.
Great
These days
strategy.
I just sit there and I'm like, I absolutely can't bother. Like I get
Mhm.
tilted at moments, but I think the best way to describe it is that I get frustrated in the moment and then
Mhm.
I quickly move on to the next game. I
Mhm.
Early on when I was streaming, I was playing one competitive game and I could get tilted off of, like, people not listening to my communication because if there's one thing about me is that I feel like my vocalness and my game sense is like one of my biggest strengths whenever I play a game. So I want
Mhm.
people to sort of listen to the shots that I'm, the calling for or, the plays to make in a game. And so when people didn't, I would just get frustrated because I'm like, you are ignoring,
Yeah.
a vital part of how I got to the rank that I
Which I
did
think is
or to the skill
normal.
that
I
I
think you
did.
should listen to people
Yeah.
Yeah.
who know more than you.
Eh, but, there's the egos that come in
Of
most of these
course.
games, and
Yeah.
so it
Well,
often
it's
led
like,
to that.
and I want to ask, like, as a queer person, do you mind me referring to you as queer?
Yeah,
Is
I don't
that
mind it.
okay? Cool. We had a
Okay.
whole conversation before. But as a queer person, I'm sure, like, from my purview, esports seems very cis het dominated, especially
Yes,
with men.
100%.
Yeah,
Which
and
is
so I'm
partially why I have the desire to, continue to strive in this because it's exactly
Yes.
like you're saying.
yes.
It is so cis het dominant. I will say there are a couple trans and queer
Mhm.
people that I do follow in various other games. The Fall Guys competitive scene, which was the game that I was mainly doing, actually had a decent femme presenting community amongst them
Oh,
and
I love
like we
that.
were able to even able to have like all femme or femme adjacent MB
Oh, fun.
Oh, that's
creators. Like
dope.
I did a tournament 4 months ago that was sponsored by Benefit Cosmetics and
Oh,
that
love
yeah
benefit.
and
Love
it was an
benefit.
all women's or MB tournament that I was able to play in. Like that was super cool to be able to see that game had that kind of community amongst not the general population because it's not only just in esports, but
Mm,
it's in gaming culture and Twitch culture in general. It is such a cis het dominated field. And part of
mhm,
my desire to grow on this platform is, I think about like the first time I had come out, I met this one person she is cis het, but she was very supportive and welcoming into her community. It was the first place that I did that. And I was like, I want to partially stream to be able to do that. And imagine like maybe I impact one person, but then imagine I hit 200 people. I can impact, 10
Yeah.
people. If I have
mhm,
2,000 people in the chat, then I can impact 200 people. Like,
really.
I want to keep growing because I want to keep allowing people to have that same experience that I did in a platform
Mhm,
or a space
mhm.
that they might not normally have.
Absolutely. If you can't see it, you don't think you can be it for sure.
Exactly.
Like
Exactly.
if you don't see somebody that looks like you doing the thing that you want to do, you start to think it's impossible.
Yeah.
And so I really, really respect you for that, Chloe. I think that's a very beautiful sentiment. I love that.
Yeah, it's definitely, I'm not gonna lie, it's hard as you like
Of course.
Yeah. It
yeah.
sounds like
Of
there's a lot
course
of
it is.
challenges.
Of course
Uh-huh.
it is.
Yeah, as you were
Yeah.
mentioning with like the TikTok comments, there's definitely a lot of
People are
negativity and
mean.
transphobia that I suffer through, but
People are really, and I
yeah.
really don't. I hate the internet sometimes. It employs us all. We love it. We get to provide our message, but sometimes the internet is like people really feel like it is a license to be as mean as they possibly
Yeah,
can
they
to
like
strangers.
They
And I
see
don't
the
get that.
anonymity and they're like,
Yes,
and they
exactly.
take
I'm never
full
going to
liberties
interact with this
it. They
person.
take full liberties with it, and it's so strange because I would never think to conduct myself like that.
Exactly.
Right?
So it's just like I don't understand people that like that's how they get their joys and their jollies and their rocks off or whatever. They like to get on their little anonymous accounts and just say slurs, and it's weird.
Sometimes I'm like,
It's crazy.
are they telling their family, like, hey, come
Absolutely
see what I
not.
told this
Absolutely
No,
not.
100%.
Absolutely not.
100% not. Like,
Like,
it's either they are like
grim.
almost indoctrinated into the culture by the parents, or they don't
True.
even bother to tell them because they're, you know, God forbid they did, and their parents didn't raise them like that. It's like
A lot of
it's
them
two
are
ends
so
of the
young.
spectrum.
Yeah, a lot of them are so young too, and that really is
Yeah,
disheartening.
especially on
is,
something like
yeah.
TikTok, which skews
Yeah.
to that very younger demographic. So a lot of
Mhm.
them see, you know, insert big creator here who threw out a slur. They're like, oh, I can do that too, which
Because-
again is why
Mhm.
partially I want to grow. You know, you look at I remember there was at the end of 2022, there was a top 100 streamers list in terms of like viewership. I think there was 2 female presenting people on that entire list. Like,
Wow.
I want that culture to change. I know we're getting better in like the small to medium range, but you want to hit that like top 100, top 1000 echelon, and there's still such a smaller
Disparity.
demographic there and such a like lack of diversity.
Yeah, and
This
you're
is
so
incredible. Yeah.
I no truly
Yeah.
I love that you have such a positive perspective on it and such like a perspective in which you want to educate people. I think that is such like a noble thing to do. I think it's fabulous. I really, really do.
Thank you.
What are you going to be up to in the future? Like what are you going to have? Do you have any tournaments coming up that people can view and cheer you on?
Like
stream. Yeah. Thank you.
I mean, I
yeah.
You're all good. Yeah, I stream 4 days. I pretty much stream 4 days a week at this point. So I'm like
that's
constantly
awesome.
doing various things. You know, again, like Pokemon has been like my recent obsession. Fall Guys seems to have like a lack of tournaments. You know, I was hosting my own at one point. Like it was a very grassroots environment where a lot of the people that liked the game would crowdfund and then raise the money to host the tournaments. And so there's like a lack of that these days. I'm hoping to actually be in a tournament this weekend. I'm still waiting to find out if I got invited to it, but there's a chance that I play in a Fall Guys tournament this weekend. But otherwise, you know, I sit there and I want to find that competitive game again that like scratches that same desire that Fall Guys did, because I do love competing and I do love, especially, you know, I don't want to say this in like the egotistical way, but for a while I was the face for female Fall Guys players. You know,
it's not egotistical.
Yeah, you should. You should be proud. You worked hard for that.
Yeah, and I remember when I went to TwitchCon and I was at the partner party, I would have like huge creators that played against in the tournament. They'd be like, "You're the Fall Guys person," and it was like the fact that I had that title.
That's
like
really cool.
Really just reiterated that desire to continue to compete, but I just have to find that same game that hits that same level of enjoyment and that like grind that I want for things.
Absolutely. Before we let you go, and thank you so much for spending so much time with us. We really appreciate it.
Of course, I had a blast.
We asked all of our guests this. We would like to know what the queerest thing in your general vicinity is right now.
Okay, so first of all, I'm gonna blow your minds a little bit.
Okay.
What I have behind me is actually just a still image of my bedroom because my bed is not made. This is a green screen picture. So I hope that it comes through in the camera. But I got this gift a few years ago after I met somebody, and you can kind of see it here. So it looks like it's a necklace, and it looks like it's not anything too special. However, it is actually supposed to be like the chemical compound symbol for estrogen.
Oh my god!
So this was a gift from somebody, and it was, you know, a super thoughtful gift, and I keep that like on my desk. I might not wear it every day, but I do keep it on hand there.
Oh my gosh!
So
yeah.
Cute.
Oh my gosh!
I love
know.
that. Wow. We love I love that. Wow. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Yeah,
of course.
Okay.
This was like so fun
and super informative because like me and Ever aren't really like gamers like that. We're barely streamers.
You know what? You're better than a lot of people because you hit. All right. Well, technically, you didn't hit the start streaming button, but you're here,
Right.
and you're
It's true. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. All right. Well, we'll let you go. We hope you have a wonderful rest of your evening.
Thank
Everyone,
you.
Baconings, go follow them.
I think you both are doing some, lovely shows here, and I hope that people continue to support you and enjoy your content that you're putting out here.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank
That's
you.
such high praises coming from you. All right. Well, have a good rest of your night.
Thank you.
Bye.
She is so nice.
Oh my
gosh.
Incredible.
I love talking to non-male gamers, which is not me saying like poo-poo male gamers, because we had Mike TV on here for Christmas.
Yeah.
He's great. I love him. But I just love meeting gamers that don't fit into the mold of what like we think a gamer is.
I feel like right now I'm like, okay, I'm gonna watch Puss in Boots too. I'm gonna watch 2 hours of C-SPAN, and I'm about to start watching some games.
I literally maybe I'll watch a playthrough, or maybe I'll fire up my own Switch Lite and get back into my.
Oh my
Animal
gosh,
Crossing.
yes. I don't know what that means, but I want to.
No one called me out about Animal Crossing. I have not visited my villagers in 6 months. I'm gonna have to restart the whole game. They're gonna be so mad at me.
They're rioting.
They're rioting right now, burning my village too. But that was a fun show. What are you gonna take away? Well, actually, no. First things first.
Yes.
We have a reminder for our
Yes.
lovely viewers. The It Gets Better Project has announced year 2 of major grants initiative supporting LGBT plus students. 50 states and 50 grants, y'all. 5,000 voices. The It Gets Better Project grants up to $10,000 each to at least one middle school or high school in every U.S. state, including the U.S. territories, and funds projects that uplift and support the well-being of local LGBT plus students. And this year, the project will be expanding to Canada under the name It Gets Better Youth Grants, with grants awarded to at least one middle school and one high school in every Canadian province and territory. You can learn more about this by doing the !5050 command in the chat, or you can go to itgetsbetterproject.org to see if you can participate yourself.
Yeah. And of course, if you missed the beginning of this episode, we're going to be back to bi-weekly episodes. And the next stream is going to be February 8th.
Yeah.
So you're going to want to tune in. You're going to join because we've got Naomi Hart's joining us. Winnie is coming back. Or I don't know if Winnie's ever been a guest, but Winnie will be joining us. And, we're going to be chatting about being a queer content creator.
Which you both know a lot about. So it'll be a really fun time talking to everyone about it. And now I will ask you, Ever.
Okay.
Besides your evening plans, which you have highly structured out,
I know.
What did you take away from the episode today? What did we learn?
I really enjoyed talking to Chloe and hearing her perspective on how she dealt with a lot of the hate or negative comments and persevering through that esports scene. I mean, that's what we call it. We call it a comedy scene in my profession, but just like that profession and just like being reminded of like kind of just open discussion that we've all had here of like how to deal with like hateful comments and like understanding these people that these strangers behind a screen don't validate you one way or the other. It was really fun to talk about because I don't think we've really chatted about that yet on this show.
Yeah. I hope we can continue doing that.
Yeah, it was like it was like our haters suck.
They do. And they're fans. Let me tell you something right now. If somebody leaves more than one hate comment under your stuff, they're not a hater. God. They're a fan.
They're a fan.
They're a fan. If they're keeping up with you and they're the first one there, when you post something or you say something, they're the first one in there, they're a fan. They got notifications on, they're a fan.
All the time. Okay, Taylor, but I have a fan that I've been tagged as it's like on Instagram when they tag you. But you're like, it's like oh my gosh, you're inviting them to be a collaborator.
Yeah.
So I can't delete the comments because I'm not the original poster.
Right.
But there's this like middle-aged man that is just so rude and awful, and
Right.
he's commenting all the time.
Mhm.
And it got to a point where it was like every time I open my phone, it's a notification from this man.
Mhm. Weird.
It,
Because
I
like
just-
it's like get a job. I'm sorry. That
know.
was rude.
It's like,
But,
well,
like,
now I've just been
truly-
trolling him on sports because
As
I
you
saw his
should.
favorite
As you
sports
should.
team is the Eagles, and I've just been
Ew.
like, ooh.
I don't mean to say ew because my uncle is a Philadelphia Eagles fan. Uncle Anthony, that wasn't about you. But
What
ew.
about you, Taylor? What are you taking away? What's your favorite part of the episode?
I think being able to talk about perspective and intersectionality. dude.
Yeah.
Like being able to talk
Yeah.
to Chloe and kind of hear her perspective and being like a marginalized person in such like a cishet male,
Oof.
presumably very white space.
A very toxic space
Yeah,
can be.
and us just having a general conversation about like the many avenues of queerness that we have to allow to exist in order for us to be a stronger queer community, a stronger queer coalition, and just like stronger in our collectivity regardless. Like again, like allyship and queerness, they can go hand in hand. And I hope that as the tides continue to turn and more people begin to understand that we can just reach this place in which we can all just mutually respect each other and understand each other and care for each other.
I would love that.
I would
Me
love
too.
it. I would love to see it, frankly.
And I would love to see you again February 8th.
And you will,
Ooh.
Bessie.
I was like,
And
ooh,
you
I
will.
got a smooth transition coming up.
All right, well, we love you. We love doing a show with you. We love seeing you. We love talking to you. Hopefully, we will see you again on the 8th. Until then, stay perfect. Bye.
Bye.